This year has been pretty disappointing when it comes to high-profile, big-budget movies, and every time I think I've seen the worst of it, another movie comes along to somehow lower the bar. Again! And this time it's Disney's Tron Ares, a movie so catastrophically bad that I could probably spend a few hours pointing out all of its flaws, but since your time is valuable, in this video, I will focus on the main reasons why Tron Ares is a top candidate for biggest cinematic blunder of the year. Now, for those who aren't aware, Tron Ares is the third live-action movie in a franchise that started in 1982 with the original Tron movie, a movie that during its release was so ahead of its time that most critics and moviegoers didn't even understand it. But in the years that followed, with the help of home media and a series of video games, Tron had become something of a cult movie recognized for its early cinematic exploration of concepts like AI, software engineers, gaming, and the competitive nature of the high-tech industry. And equally groundbreaking was Tron's use of live-action mixed with 2D animation and CGI, something that was practically unheard of at the time, paving the way for modern animation and visual effects techniques that we see in movies until this very day. For years though, Disney, who owned Tron, didn't quite know what to do with this IP, but in 2010, 28 years following the release of Tron, we finally got a sequel called Tron Legacy, bringing back original cast members Jeff Bridges and Bruce Boxleitner as Kevin Flynn and Alan, with newcomers Garrett Hedlund and Olivia Wilde in the roles of Sam, Flynn, and Cora. Very competently directed by Joseph Kosinski, who would later go on to make movies like Top Gun Maverick and F1, and with a very memorable score from music duo Daft Punk. In my opinion, Tron Legacy was not only a worthy follow-up to the original Tron movie, it even built upon it by introducing new concepts, ideas, and characters that would have been potentially a very solid foundation for a third live-action installment. Unfortunately, Disney saw things differently because while they didn't necessarily lose money on Tron Legacy, they also didn't make the type of money that they were hoping for at the box office, so they would waste another 15 years doing absolutely nothing until we finally got Tron Ares, a sort of sequel to Tron Legacy. And I say sort of because instead of giving existing fans the next chapter in a story that they were already invested in from the first two movies, Disney decided to do a soft reboot of the franchise in order to try to appeal to a more modern audience.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Now, before we dive in, if you have a second, please consider liking and subscribing to this channel, as it would really help an independent movie reviewer like myself.
Do it.
Tron Ares starts off with something of a middle finger to anybody who's enjoyed previous installments of this franchise, as it explains that Sam Flynn, Kevin Flynn's son, resigned like a loser and then had to be replaced by not one, but two diverse girl boss sisters who had taken over his leadership role at Encom, with one of the girl boss sisters acting as CEO, and this seemingly explains why both Sam and Cora are completely missing from this story. But wasn't Sam supposed to be the biggest shareholder in the company, looking to continue in the footsteps of his father? Yeah, don't think about that. Meanwhile, Julian Dillinger, the son of one of the main villains in the first movie, has his own competing high-tech company with his own version of the grid, a sort of digital world that human beings can get pulled into, much like Encom had in the previous movies, but in Dillinger's case, he uses the grid along with a 3D printer to create soldiers that will operate in the real world, but unbeknownst to his investors, they can only exist in the real world for 29 minutes before self-destructing. Dillinger's mother, who herself is a girl boss, keeps trying to warn her reckless son about his poor decision-making, but being the toxic, white male that he is, he just won't listen. I mean, the original Dillinger was a bad guy, and he was sneaky, but at least you understood what was motivating the character. In this case, Dillinger's main motivation is that he's just a whiny douche. Also, if you're wondering what happened to Cillian Murphy's character, Ed Dillinger Jr., that was introduced in Tron Legacy, and how he's related to the Dillingers in this movie, just don't think about that either, because they seem to have deleted his character from ever existing. Anyhow, the stunning and brave CEO girl boss that replaced Sam Flynn is now trying to locate an algorithm that'll cause people from the grid to become human or something, so she goes to a super secret igloo somewhere and plays with some floppy disks until she finds it. Not that she even cares about the algorithm, but she's just doing all of this in honor of her late sister, who passed away after being the bestest girl boss ever. Meanwhile, douchey Dillinger is looking for the same algorithm to apply to his 3D printed soldiers and using them to spy and locate the CEO girl boss so that he can apprehend her and take the algorithm for himself. And the leader of Dillinger's grid is an AI soldier played by Jared Leto, who from the get-go doesn't want to harm the girl boss in any way because he's infatuated with her, which lowers the agency and importance of his character about 5 seconds after he's introduced. But if you were puzzled as to why this happens from a storytelling perspective, the answer is very simple. It turns out that while Jared Leto is a sensitive, pushover male AI, the real antagonist of this movie is revealed to be his AI soldier replacement, Jodie Turner-Smith, who famously appeared in Disney's embarrassing Star Wars disaster, The Acolyte, and as Anne Boleyn in a British period piece drama about Anne Boleyn?
Yes.
And as opposed to the soft and moist AI Jared Leto, AI Jodie Turner-Smith is ruthless and a force to be reckoned with. Now at this point, the movie becomes even dumber and more convoluted, so I'll try my best to quickly explain what happens next in the most simple way I can. CEO Girl Boss is pulled into Dillinger's digital grid world where she's meant to be destroyed, but sensitive AI Jared Leto saves her by pulling them both into the regular world. The only catch is, Leto only has 29 minutes to live before he self-destructs, so Girl Boss has to find a way to turn him into a human being. Thankfully, the CEO Girl Boss is the smartest woman ever, so she sends AI Jared Leto into Kevin Flynn's original grid for a quick memberberry session with Jeff Bridges, who looks like he spent one afternoon in front of a green screen to briefly appear in this crappy movie while probably collecting what was likely the easiest paycheck of his entire career. And while I do like Jeff Bridges and I did enjoy seeing the original Tron grid, it's hard to ignore what a stupid deus ex machina he is in this story, reduced to nothing more than a plot convenience that gives Jared Leto the algorithm he's looking for so that he can stay human in this world or something. Then there's a big finale where Leto and the CEO girl boss defeat the AI girl boss. Dillinger's stunning and brave mom gets killed because he's a selfish male douche, and he ends up transferring himself into the grid where he becomes Sark from the first film for no apparent reason. Then we see Jared Leto looking at a picture of Sam and Cora as if it means something, but I think this is just a tease that will never lead to anything because I doubt we'll ever get a sequel to this disaster of a movie. Now, I think it's pretty obvious that everything I've described until now really highlights how many issues this movie has with its awful screenplay, but even beyond that, this movie pretty much fails to deliver in every aspect of its production. You'd think that during the 15 years since the last movie was released, visual effects would now be so cutting edge that they would make Tron Legacy look like an obsolete joke compared to this new movie, but in reality, nothing could be further from the truth. Tron Legacy was stylish and thoughtful with its world-building visuals, making us feel like we were really inside the grid, but in Tron Ares, all the visuals just feel random and scattered. While they may look sharper than the ones we saw in Tron Legacy on a technical level, they have no sense of planning or real purpose when it comes to expanding this world, which is a shame because it's a key ingredient needed for a movie like this to work. Also, even though Nine Inch Nails are talented musicians, they deliver such a repetitive, lackluster, and boring score here that it ends up sounding like one never-ending collection of industrial farts, with Trent Reznor mumbling some crap over them. And I say this as somebody who doesn't necessarily listen to Daft Punk regularly. Their score for Tron Legacy was perfect for that movie, as they 100% understood their assignment. Furthermore, beyond Girl Boss good and Douchey Man bad, this movie doesn't seriously explore any other interesting themes. While I'm not suggesting that Tron Legacy was the greatest masterpiece ever made, that movie had heart. It raised spiritual questions about our existence, the bond between the father and son, and personal sacrifice, and in Tron Legacy, actress Olivia Wilde was super hot. Which is another big problem with this new movie. It's bad enough that Tron Ares is creatively bankrupt and infused with Disney's usual brand of modern-day messaging, but they couldn't even cast it properly either. If you're just gonna have some girl bosses running around on screen, the least you could do is cast women that are more appealing. And I know some of you are probably saying, who are you to judge if these ladies look nice or not? You're probably some middle-aged bum sitting in back of a keyboard. And you know what? You're absolutely right, but that's exactly why nobody is paying me millions of dollars to lead a $200 million high-profile franchise film. And I have no issue with that. In fact, if I were the producer and I had $200 million to spend, I wouldn't cast myself either. Instead, I would look for the most appealing actors and actresses that I could find so that perhaps some moviegoers agree to my tickets to see this movie, even if it sucks, because that's just good business. And for those of you who are thinking that I'm somehow complaining about the casting because these ladies are diverse, I absolutely reject that idea. I mean, Disney could have easily cast Anna Sawai as the CEO girl boss and Zoe Saldana as the AI girl boss, and the movie would have already been somewhat tolerable to watch because at least they look nice. And rather hypocritically, Disney always seemed to have contempt for their male audience while always somehow trying to cater to the female, which is exactly why they cast an actor like Jared Leto, because he's considered appealing to women. But much like with all their other flops in recent years, what Disney fails to understand, again, is that the target audience for sci-fi movies like Tron is primarily men, and if Disney wants to keep giving men the middle finger, their movies are going to continue to lose money at the box office. In any case, if I was forced to give this awful movie a score, I suppose I would give it a 25 out of 100, and if you want to keep getting honest movie reviews from an independent movie reviewer like myself, please like and subscribe so that you're always notified when I post something new. Thanks for watching, my friends. Thank you, and good day.
I am such an awesome guy. I make so many videos. But